Alright, y'all, I know I've been going for a minute, but now we back for the jump off. Whoa. Greetings, good day, and welcome. I'm Deanna, your favorite project manager and grants consultant. Happy New Year. And to start off this new year, of course, I gotta start with a video requested from you guys. Today, I was asked, do you have a video explaining how you got into grant writing? And well, now I do. With that being said, let's talk about my journey into grant writing as someone who had no experience and no prior knowledge about what grant writing even was. For anyone that might be new to the field, grant writing is essentially the process of crafting proposals to secure funding from organizations like foundations, corporations, or government agencies. In a nutshell, grant writing is really heavily focused on storytelling, making sure to align that story with a funder's goals, and presenting a strong case to a potential funder for investment. Over the years, I've really learned that grant writing is a mix of creativity and of strategy. And if anyone wants a much more in-depth video about what grants and development is and what are the different elements of that field, go check out This Is the Best Video About Grants and Development Ever in the description below, because it's literally the best video ever about grants and development. Okay? Okay. Now, I'm not 100% sure if I've mentioned this before, but I did not initially have any interest in grant writing, and it actually found me. One day in August 2017, if I'm not mistaken, a friend of mine named Kwashi, he literally came up to me off the random like, yo Deanna, have you ever heard of grant writing? He already knew that I had such a passion for writing and that I loved every other form of writing. I was doing blogs, different articles. I was getting more into journalism. I was even thinking about how I can utilize this skill in like laws and legislation and such. And he was like, well, you might love this form of writing. I believe that you have a gift, and I think that your gift could really be utilized in this area of work. So I was like, you know what? Let me listen to my friend. Let me take this into consideration. So then I took some time. I did some digging, really seeing what grant writing is and what that entailed. And as I was doing my homework about it, I discovered, I love what I'm finding. I like how this whole field is operating, you feel me? So now my next steps, I'm like, I need to take some courses. I need to build my knowledge around grant writing, what this is and what it could look like for me. And since I already went to Temple, I turned to them to see if they had courses. They did. I took a few classes. I studied for about 4 months, and I wrapped up all my studies in April 2018. Then fast forward a few months, in the summertime, my mom knows that I am looking more into doing grant writing, that I'm trying to grow in this field, and I really want to step into working with nonprofit organizations. And it just so happens that she knew a CEO of a smaller nonprofit that was looking to grow and build. The name of this nonprofit is Butterfly Dreams. Their CEO is Joy Lindsay, and I started working with her in September 2018. And now, how many years? 7 years later. Damn. That sounds crazy to say. But now, 7 years later, I'm here. I'm still here, still doing the work, still growing in the grants and development field. So that's the story of how I got into grants and development, but these are the specific steps that I took to really break in and start building and solidifying my platform in the grants and development field. First and foremost, I educated myself. Because grant writing was something I had no idea what it was, I made sure to take a step back and to just start with the basics. So the courses that I took through Temple, the researching and studying that I did in regards to grant writing, it was literally the absolute basic. If I'm not mistaken, one of the courses that I took said A to Z fundamentals of grant writing, like introductory to grant writing. Even one of the courses that I took was building your consultant agency as a grant writer. Like when I say I was starting from the bottom and now we here, that's exactly what I mean. And even outside of these courses, I made sure to also study some real life examples as well. What I mean by this is taking the time to study the websites and the information provided about different funding agencies, seeing who they donated to, what type of organizations that they were connecting with, and then going on those organizations' websites and seeing how they talked about their story, how they were showcasing their work. So the same way I was educating myself in the classroom, I was also trying to educate myself in the real world as well. And of course, with educating myself, you already know I was reading a book. And the book that really helped me out a lot, the only grant writing book you'll ever need, and I'm not gonna lie, they wasn't lying. This book, and even though I've had it for several years, I still refer to it. I still pick it up and, need little refreshers and stuff here and there. And even though, I don't know what edition this is. It's their 4th edition. I feel like they're on the 5th one, maybe 6th one by now. But this book really broke down a lot of information for me, and it gave me a lot of different perspectives. So it just wasn't the authors talking. They also took the knowledge and the expertise of other top grant writers throughout the country and put it in this book as well. So if anybody's looking to learn more, I would highly recommend putting this book on your shelf asaptually. If you're looking for a link, yes, it is in the description. Second, after educating myself, I was willing to volunteer. Now, how I mentioned earlier that I started working with Joy in September 2018, initially when my mother connected me with her, I came as a volunteer. I was like, I'm starting off new. I'm a super novice. I've learned a lot. I believe that I am a strong writer outside of this, but I have not had experience with grant writing. So if you just let me volunteer with you so I can just grow as a grant writer, that would be great. And she was like, Deanna, absolutely not. Not that she wouldn't work with me, but that she wasn't allowing me to work for free. So she, at the time, knew that I was unemployed, knew that I was just trying to get my foot in the door somewhere. And she was like, no, I'm going to pay you. I'm going to arrange her budget how she needed to. She was already looking for support in her development work that she was doing. And she hired me as a development consultant. And I was able to not just work for her, but really grow with her as well. And I'm so happy to watch Butterfly Dreams continue to flourish from the sidelines. Joy, if you ever watch this, you are amazing. And I thank you so much for giving this little black girl a chance. Third, just like you hear me talking up about Joy, I also made sure that I was finding mentors. Now, there is so much that I've been able to learn on my own, and I am so grateful that I'm able to feed that back to you guys. However, there's also so much that I have learned from others. Number one, as I'm talking about Joy, remember this book that we were just talking about? She got me this book. When I got my first official full-time job, which was a job that she had connected me to, Joy's amazing. But let me not get off track. She bought me that book so I could better prepare myself to step into that field and to just continue growing in the field. There's another woman, her name is Ellie. Ellie, if you are watching, hello girl, hope you are doing well. I actually met her when I was doing a job interview 3 years ago now, and she was on the panel, and at that time she was the chief development officer at the organization. And me and her, I don't know, we just really connected well, and she insisted that even though I did not get the job with them, she wanted to continue connecting with me, continue growing with me, and help me along the way in my journey as much as she possibly could. So I am very grateful for her. I did not think I would meet a potential mentor while interviewing for jobs, but even though that was 3 years ago, I could text her now and ask her a question. Even I've asked her questions about my business cards. I've asked her questions about my website and such, because she too is a consultant. So I've been able to, pick her brain when I am trying to grow as a consultant myself. And last shout out, I don't think he would really consider himself one of my mentors, but I consider him a mentor. Daniel, he is the current chief of staff for the Newark Opportunity Youth Network. I am still working with him. As I said, I am a grants consultant. NOIN is one of my clients, so I continue working with Daniel. I was full-time with them and then took a step back and decided that me being a consultant would be much better. But the relationship that Daniel and I have been able to cultivate and grow over the years has been phenomenal. And he has been really vital in me developing my storytelling skills, me developing how I am sharing the story of NOIN. And he has just been so supportive over the years. And like, you know how sometimes you be in your workspace and it's like, yo, am I crazy? Am I looking at this situation and losing my mind? He would make sure to be there and be like, no, Deanna, you're not. I see what you see. And that'd be so refreshing. That'd be so refreshing. You see, I can't even talk because I'm so amazed. But on top of him being one of my biggest supporters, he's also helped me grow a lot as a grant writer as well. Fourth, if there's anything that I've been doing over the years, it is endlessly practicing my craft. Before I even wrote my first like official proposal to submit for a grant, I reviewed a lot of sample grants. I drafted mock proposals so that I can just practice, writing for these hypothetical projects. And if I was able to take that information and craft the story in a way that would connect with a funder. So I was not just like, all right, well, I'm gonna start submitting proposals now. Like, absolutely not. Absolutely not. The gap starting in April 2018, where I got, all the knowledge and took the courses and classes and such, and then me working with Joy in September 2018, the in-between, your girl was practicing. She was writing. She was pretending that she was a grants consultant and seeing if she was able to do all the things. And then eventually I became one. And then when I finally was officially submitting proposals, over the years, I've had my work ripped to shreds and brought back to life. Ripped to shreds and then brought back to life. Like, it was a continuous process of improving. To be transparent, I would say the first year and a half, 2 years that I was working as a grant writer, 90% of the time they was telling me no for the grants that I was submitting. And again, this was me just really starting out. This was me just, dipping my toe in the water a little bit and just seeing like how I can improve and do better. And prime example, funny enough, that comes to mind, there was a $100,000 grant that Joy and I were working on. And the first year, we did not get it. We didn't even move on to the next step. They told us no.
Right to jail, right away.
But then the second year, we took the time to review our mistakes, review how we could improve, review the things that we did do well and kept those elements. And then eventually the following year, we got that 100K. Like, that felt so good to be able to sit back and do all of those different improvements and such, and then reap the benefits. What is it? Reap what we sowed. So though we got denied that first year, we were able to come back and get it the second year. If I did not take the time to practice, if I did not take the time to really not just own in on my skills, but to realize that this is a never ending process of learning and being able to understand and grow in the field, then we would have never got that 100K. And I'm very grateful that I've been able to grow over the years and am able to go back to funders and be like, I know y'all told us no before, but how about now? And then they'd be like, you know what, you're right. We know we said no before, but now it's a yes. Last step I took to really break in is to make sure that I was leveraging my gifts. Though I was a newbie to grant writing, I did have transferable skills that I could utilize in this field and that would help me be successful. If you are somebody looking to get into grant writing, if you want to step into the grants and development field, I would definitely take a step back and see what your transferable skills may be. For me, mine were writing and storytelling, obviously, organizing, research and analytical skills, and innovation. If any of those skills align with you, then you're already ahead of the curve when it comes to stepping into grant writing. So don't sell yourself short. And even if none of those skills sound like you, I'm pretty sure if you go through your resume, if you go through your LinkedIn profile, if you just grab a notebook and a pen and you start writing down what your skill sets are, I promise you a handful of them will help you be successful if you are trying to step into grant writing, being a grant writer, being a grants consultant, all of those things. Okay?
Okay.
Now. Though I absolutely positively love the work that I do. I'm not gonna sit here and act like this journey has been an easy one. We not gonna sit here and act like that. We not gonna lie today. We are not going to start off the year lying. Throughout my journey, if I had to pick my top 3 challenges, I'd say the first one is not knowing grant specific language. For those of you who may or may not know, there are so many different terms, acronyms, definitions, codes, like just so much language to remember. It took me a little bit of time to get a grip of everything. Like I said, the first year and some change, I was getting denial after denial after denial when I was submitting a grant proposal. And one thing that I've had to accept, which I'm gonna say is a really key asset for getting into grant writing, is that there will always be something to learn, and that I have to make sure that I always have a willingness to learn. The field is continuously evolving, and there's continuously new things coming to light in regards to philanthropic work. So if I do not have a willingness to learn, whatever skills and stuff and whatever things I was able to do in 2024, I might not be able to carry over into 2025. You feel me? As a solution to overcoming a learning curve or trying to understand grant specific language, I make sure to learn plenty of resources and templates so that I am better able to learn different structures and tones when it comes to putting together a proposal. A handful of templates and information can be found online for free. You just got to do a little digging. However, I know for myself, I learn best when someone is breaking it down for me, when someone is providing examples and is giving me feedback on the work that I'm doing. So when I talked earlier about the mock proposals and such that I was putting together, some of them I put together in the courses that I was taking, and I was able to have somebody give me direct feedback on my work. How could I improve upon it? What were my strengths, etc., etc. So if you are able to invest in a course, in a class, in any type of studying that could contribute to you learning and growing and really understanding those grant specific terms and language, please do so ASAPually, expeditiously. Y'all know expeditiously is my favorite word. Second challenge, and it's certainly not exclusive to grants and development, but it's imposter syndrome, and I had it very strong. Sometimes she still come knocking at the back door trying to tell me things that are not true, and then I cave into myself, and it's just an endless cycle of intimidating myself internally. But outside of my internal intimidation, this field itself is very intimidating. I would be lying to you if I said it was not, because it is. There are 3 specific struggles that I have in regards to philanthropic work and why I sometimes let the imposter syndrome take over. 1 is that I'm young. 2 is that I'm Black. And 3 is that I'm a woman. I feel like in a lot of spaces, hopefully I can have a transparent moment, but I feel like in a lot of spaces we are looked at as less and our opinions are not as valued because we might be the youngest person in the room, because we might be one of few women in the room, because we might be the only Black person in the room. And as I have grown in this work and really learned the ins and outs of it, the philanthropic world is becoming much more diverse. So we see leaders that look like me and not just serving people that look like me. You know what I mean? And sometimes being in certain spaces, I'm like, are people even going to take me seriously? I know what I've accomplished over the years. I know the organizations I work for are doing amazing work, and the work that they do is absolutely necessary to the communities that they reside in. But is anybody going to hear me? Is anybody going to look at me? Like I said, is anybody going to take me seriously? And you know, that voice just gets louder and louder and louder. However, as a solution, I always try to remind myself that at one point, all of these experts that I am learning from, that I am engaging with, that have been in the field for decades, at one point, they were also a beginner. They were also a novice. They also didn't know what the hell was going on or how to talk about the work that they were representing. And over the years, as I just kept reminding myself, like, Deanna, you're growing. Deanna, it is okay. Deanna, you are new to this, not true to this, but you will be true true to this one day, I felt my confidence growing. And each win that I had, whether it was for $100 that I was getting for somebody, or if it was for $2.4 million that I was getting for somebody, I allowed that to feed into me, and I celebrated each and every win that I had. And now I could say 7 years down the line, I'm pretty confident in the work that I'm doing. And me being young, me being black, and me being a woman is not going to prevent me from walking into spaces and doing the work that I need to do.
I know that's right.
Last challenge, which is another one that could definitely apply to many other jobs and is not exclusive to grant writing, but to accept rejection with grace. I think I might have mentioned this in other videos. I can't think of which one, but grant writing has really taught me to look at rejection in a way different / better light, because usually when we get rejected from something, when somebody tells us no, it's devastating, and we're just wondering like, well, why did we get rejected? How come we didn't get this? How come this isn't for me? And it's like, maybe it wasn't meant to be for you. Maybe this wasn't a rejection to make you feel bad or make you feel inadequate. It was just something that you weren't able to receive right now, you weren't ready to receive right now, and now you got to go back to the drawing board and, you know, start again. But start again with grace. I can't even tell y'all the number of no's that I've gotten from various funding agencies over the years. And I would not be where I am at today if I allowed that first year of me stepping into this field to determine how or if I would continue in this field. Because if I allowed those rejections to get the best of me, I would have found a new career. I would not be sitting here talking to you guys right now about how much I love the work that I do. And as I said, it allowed me to really accept rejection with grace and being able to apply that level of grace to other areas in my life, and seeing things that, rejection can be redirection. Even though I did not receive this from a funder, usually shortly down the line, I receive even more from another funder, and it turned out to be a perfect partnership. So again, rejection, I've now finally seeing it as a good thing, and I would not really be seeing it as that if I did not step into grant writing. So we talked about how, you know, I had challenges in grant writing, how I stepped into it, but I want to talk a little bit about one of the awards that I'm really proud of. This specific award, and I know I've mentioned it before on my channel about this partnership that NOIN has with this foundation, but it's the Healthcare Foundation of New Jersey. I originally connected with this foundation in, I want to say September 2020. Yeah, I want to say September 2020 is when I originally connected with this funder, and I created their original proposal. I conducted multiple meetings with their program officer. I arranged meetings with their board members and staff members of my team. I submitted budgets, chart updates. We put together a PowerPoint presentation of our work to present to the board members. It was at least like 5 or 6 months of work and building this partnership with this funder. But, you know, fast forward, obviously we got approved. They loved the work that we were doing. They loved how we were able to convey and share our work with them. And now we're entering into a 4th year of support and have received nearly $500,000 from them over the last 3 years. My team and I were really able to cultivate a long-term partnership instead of just having this foundation as a one-time donor, which I think is super important if you are somebody who is trying to be a grant writer. Yes, raising money is super important, but really cultivating partnerships and program offices and funding agencies and institutions being able to see you as a partner, not just somebody asking you for money, makes them more prone to naturally give you money. So even each year, we just have continued funding with them. The proposals have become easier and easier over the years because we were able to take the time in that first step to really cultivate this. So now it's just like, oh, of course we're giving you funding. And as a grant writer, that is the best thing in the world to hear. If you are an aspiring grant writer, here's some last minute tips for you. First and foremost, make sure you are starting small. Take some introductory classes, take a few courses, look for any opportunities with local nonprofits and other community-based organizations, seeing if they have like any volunteer opportunities. Like I say, you have to be willing to volunteer. Maybe you'll get in a situation where you don't have to volunteer, but but be willing to, because that could be a really powerful stepping stone. Second, like I said earlier, make sure to focus on your transferable skills. Think about how your current skill set and what's on your resume can translate into grant writing. And lastly, like I said earlier, keep learning. The field is always evolving. There are always things changing. So you should always be looking to learn. You will be endlessly learning if you decide to become a grant writer. Because even like I said, 7 years later, and I'm still picking up this book. I'm still trying to find new things. I'm still taking notes. I'm still attending webinars and conferences and courses and such. The work never stops. The learning never stops. And I like learning. I like educating myself. So honestly, truly, that is perfectly fine with me. Oh, would you look at that? You made it to the end of this video. So thanks for watching.
Sometimes goodbyes are a bitch.
T-shirt idea. Goodbye stink.
If you are somebody that is considering this path, I hope that my story has inspired you to take that first step. My story started with someone telling me to do it, so now I'm telling you, go do it. Go and take that first step. If you are someone who is exploring grant writing or have any questions about it, make sure to let me know in the comments below. If there are any other topics that anybody would like me to cover, remember, I am your favorite project manager and grants consultant, so make sure to drop those topics and questions in the comments as well. If you haven't done so already, please make sure to like, share, and subscribe. And until next time, bye y'all.